we'll put this one into the steel. Where is it? Welcome back to 13C. On deck today, the VERS 30 from Bowers. Now, this has been a long requested video, mostly not just for the VERS 30, but specifically what's your favorite 30 caliber can? And that is a hard question to answer. There are a lot of things that go into it. You're talking about weight, length, sound quality, point impact shift. When we're talking about 30 caliber cans, there's such a wide variety, a lot of different things that can go into it. Best is really hard to quantify. But as far as maybe a must-have 30 caliber can, I'm going to get into the reasons why this is probably one of my favorites, especially when you're talking about kind of what it was designed for, which is precision shooting. So when I'm looking for a can for precision shooting, the number one thing I'm looking for is point impact shift. First, it's got to be repeatable, and second, I want it as minimal as possible, and I don't want it to have any negative impact on my grouping size. So what you see here, this beast right here is my 110 Desert Tactical from Savage. This is a 6.5 Creedmoor rifle. We've got our what is it? 4.5. It is 4.5 to on the lower end to 27 power Bushnell Forge optic on here. This is a really sweet setup. We've done a video on it in the past. If you want to go ahead and check that out, feel free to. You'll see this is an insanely accurate rifle when you get the right ammo in here. The Federal Fusion is a great hunting round that we use in here. See fantastic accuracy out of that. And then the gold medal match with the Sierra boat tail rounds in there, those Match King rounds. Really, this rifle loves it. So, all that said, this can is rated from 17 HMR all the way up to 300 Remington Ultramag, and absolutely anywhere in between. The only one single barrel length restriction on it would be for 5.56, and that's 10.5 inches. If you're familiar with 5.56, you start getting down under 10.5 inches. All that powder, a lot of the powder winds up igniting after it exits the barrel on shorter than 10.5 inches. That's one of the reasons why it isn't. Now, I did mention precision shooting can is kind of what this was designed for. It doesn't mean it's a can that you have to baby. This thing has a limited full auto rating. So in the manual it says, you know, if you're going to be shooting full auto strings, don't let the can get above 500 degrees before letting it cool down and shooting it some more. So it will take some abuse, even though this is, in my opinion anyway, more of a precision can. Put it on the end of this rifle, for example, and we'll talk about some of the other ones later on. Minimal point of impact shift on this one. You're talking about maybe half an inch at 100 yards for this rifle. The biggest point impact shift that we saw was on our DPMS G2. That's at 308 Recon that we have. Fantastic rifle. DPMS got that one right in their G2 series. Anyway, that one saw a point of impact shift closer about 1.25 inches, but it's repeatable, and it's about 1.5 inches high. Going back and forth between the two. On this one, barely half an inch. And as far as impacting the group sizes on this, zero impact on group sizes. They stay just as tight, if not, because it reduces that recoil just from a perceived shooter standpoint. I think I get slightly tighter groupings with the can than without. And you'll hear that a lot from people who shoot suppressed a lot. They actually are more accurate with the silencer on the end because intuitively their body knows that recoil impulse is going to be lessened by having a can out on the front of it. It's just the way it is. Let's talk about specs real quick. 9.25 inches long on this and 21 ounces. This is a stainless steel can and uses the VERS adapt. We've talked about the VERS adapt in the past. Basically, it's a mounting system in here in the back. You can unscrew the VERS adapter out of the back of this and swap it out from, there's over 24 different versions. So you can go from 1/2 x 28 to 5/8. I mean, you name it, left-hand twist. Over 24 different VERS adapts, so you can put it on virtually any rifle you can think of. Now, we talked a little bit about the precision aspect. We were out doing some shooting at 450 yards, where this setup really starts to shine once you start getting out there at those further distances. Modern problems require modern solutions. So we've got a table propped up here on the back of the UTV. I've got my legs spread out. So I'm standing but kind of leaning on this table as well. I got a little bag here. We're at 450 yards. It's a little late in the day, but we already confirmed that our VERS 30 has minimal point of impact shift here closer in on the 6.5 Creedmoor. So now we're going to send some down range at 450 yards. That's a hit. Ooh, didn't take that one out with another 40. That's a hit. And that's a hit as well. All right, so for those of you who are wondering, out in the fields here, we've got a little bit of dip in the topography, and that means that with this table on its legs, I don't actually have enough height to clear a little bit of that dip to actually see the, it's about half-size steel target down there at 450, and I've got to get up and elevated enough to go ahead and take those shots here. So with this setup, it makes it crazy easy. We're going to continue to do some more testing over the next couple of weeks. We have been doing some in the past. We're going to continue to do more because this setup is how I really want this VERS 30 to run. This was my ideal setup originally for doing some long range stuff, and hopefully maybe we can get it out even a little bit further and get some of that on camera as well. But for now, 450 is good to go. Let's talk about sound reduction. To the ear, this may be one of the quietest 30 caliber cans that I've ever heard. It does a fantastic job, and one of the things I'm looking forward to this upcoming spring, which will be a few months from now, is actually getting this on the meter with another can that probably runs about as close as you're going to get to the top two quietest cans that are out there. Silencer Shop, from the numbers that our friends over at Silencer Shop have put up, this is one of the quietest cans that they've ever metered. In fact, up until not that long ago, it was the quietest can that they had ever metered. The newer can that they metered was on some of their newer metering devices. So I'd really be, since it was so close, I'd really be, and that's why I want to test it this summer with our friend from NFA Talk. Hopefully he'll be able to come back out this spring, be able to get this side by side with the other one, because from a tone standpoint, all right, that's where we get into best, right? What's best? What's best at your ear? So this is a hearing safe can on everything that I've shot it on. It doesn't leave my ears ringing. It sounds fantastic. Obviously, when you're talking about semi-automatic guns and you're having gas come back, you've got the action to deal with. So you probably do want to wear hearing protection if you're doing extended shooting on semi-autos, because it's cumulative, right? We've talked about that in other videos, so I won't get into that. If you're familiar with a lot of the silencer videos we've done, I've told people to try and not chase numbers. Metering, the weather conditions, the types of meters, the day you go out, the gun, the ammo, the lot patches can play a minimal to significant difference in the actual decibel readings that are turning up on different people's cans. That's why for a lot of the direct comparisons that we do here, we go back to back, same day, within a few minutes of each other, same can, same ammo, same rifle, well, not same can, but, you know, can to can on the same rifle, same ammo, everything absolutely the same, so that we can see on this given day, at this given time, this given altitude and temperature, humidity level, everything else. That's what you come up with. Now, when I talk about what sounds good to you, right? So if you have a 1 decibel difference between two different cans, let's say, and one of them has a significantly better tone that sounds better to you, and the other one's higher pitched, let's say, and you don't like that higher pitched sound, even if there's a 1 decibel difference between the two, go with the one that sounds better to you at your ear. That's my personal preference on that, first and foremost. Obviously, when you start getting into a couple decibels difference, 3, 4, 5, that's where you're going to actually hear a significant difference, and the tone doesn't come into play as much. We've seen, I've talked with a number of different people in the industry. There's a lot that goes into that, and I don't want people to get so caught up in chasing numbers just because I say this is one of the quietest cans that has been measured by Silencer Shop. I don't want you to just be chasing that decibel sound. I want you to be looking at the overall picture of whatever can you're looking at. I don't want you to just look at chase decibel numbers, if that makes sense. We've covered that before, but I wanted to touch on that again, and I know we're straying off topic here, but to me that's something that's pretty important. The fun part of any of these is 300 Blackout Subsonics. These are the Federal Suppressor brand ammo, American Eagle Suppressor brand, and these things are really quiet, and when teamed up with this can, absolutely Hollywood quiet. Check this out. the thud of the bullet impacting the berm is louder than the sound of the can. And if you're standing 2 or 3 feet away from the action of this, it is even more ridiculously quiet. The action is significantly louder than the can on the end of here. This is kind of a favorite little blaster of mine, and I recently upgraded it with this Geisley super modular rail on the end of it. This thing is pretty neat. Anyway, we're gonna shoot those same suppressor ammo from American Eagle Federal. Out of here, we've only got 2 rounds left, unfortunately, of this stuff, but this will last my Subsonic for this. I've had a lot of fun with this thing, but on this shorter barrel, I just wanted you guys to get a taste of how this sounds here. And still, even with that shorter barrel, and that was one of the things that I wanted to touch on that I don't think I did when I was talking about this earlier, is that given the design of the baffle, not only is this quiet, but it doesn't seem to kick back as much gas in semi-autos as some other baffle can. So that's actually something to note on these with semi-autos. It's not over gassing any of my guns here, where depending on some of the other 30 cal cans that I have that I put on there, get a decent amount of gas blowback. So I thought that was kind of interesting, in addition to suppressing extremely well and reducing those decibels extremely well. Actually is not throwing back as much gas as some of my other 30 caliber cans as well, and it's probably translating hopefully on video here as well. When you're buying a silencer, you're making a significant investment. Basically, you're buying one for life. Under the current registration scheme that's out there, you got to pay $200 tax. You got to wait many months to get your silencer in. And if you're spending that amount of time and money, not just the cost of the can, but the additional costs of registry and compliance issues so that you're staying within the law, you're pretty much married to whatever can you buy for the rest of your life. Yes, you can sell it, whatever, but the resale value on cans, especially considering there's a $200 transfer tax, they just drop right off. So if you're gonna buy something that you like, that's gonna suit your purposes well, and also has great support from the factory, from the manufacturer. So Bowers warranty, I think technically they might call it a service contract. Anyway, however they term it, basically, if something happens to your silencer, you mail it back to them with a check for 20 bucks, and they fix it. The 20 bucks is to cover shipping costs to ship it back to you when they're done with it. And that's pretty much no questions asked. If something happens to your can, send it back to them. They will fix it if it's fixable and send it back to you, and you're out 20 bucks. That's it. That's fantastic. If you're not familiar with Bowers, Bowers has been around for over 20 years now. I want to say almost 21 years in business. They've been around a long time. Some of their original cans from back in the late 90s, they still, even though they don't make them anymore, they still service them and they still cover them under that same $20 thing. So they actually, for those cans that they don't make anymore, they've got to actually fire up a CNC machine to make new parts to send out to you, or to fix it and get it back to you. That's how far out they'll go, out of their way they'll go to honor those customers, even though it's been 20, 21 years. So that's something that's awesome to see. I've ran into Tom Bowers. He owns and founded Bowers Group many times in many different industry events and stuff like that. And he's just a cool guy, salt of the earth. And it's nice to know that if you're getting a can that you can take to the bank, so to speak, as far as reliability, long-term longevity, and if something does go wrong, they'll fix it. And they're good people. So that's pretty cool. So a shout out to them. They've been doing for a little while, and that I believe is still going on. I don't know when it's going to end, but they also, with the VERS 30, it comes with their SupCov. I believe that stands for suppressor cover. I'm not sure. I never asked. I would assume it stands for suppressor cover. They also call it a Cryptastic. Basically, it's a high temp silicone here, and just slides right on the end. And what that does is, aside from letting you handle your silencer when it gets hot, the big thing is it cuts down on Mirage. So a couple months ago, I made a video on the VERS 9. I don't remember, it was one of them. And I said, as we were getting the colder months, we'd start checking this out and seeing how well it actually does to mitigate Mirage, right? Because you see some of the other bigger covers made of different materials. They're bulkier, they wind up sliding around and stuff. This one, and you can tell I'm actually having a little bit of difficulty sliding this the rest of the way on with one hand while I'm here on camera. I actually have to put the butt of the rifle on the ground to slide this the rest of the way on. but it stays on good. It doesn't move around while you're shooting, and it does actually what it says when it cuts down on Mirage. We were out here the other day shooting 450 yards. It's about 20 degrees outside, and this thing shined. Totally took away any issues with Mirage that we were having shooting at 450 yards. So I was pretty psyched about that. Doesn't have any negligible impact on point impact or anything like that. I didn't see any differences whatsoever at all. It doesn't seem to do anything for the sound. I was curious if it would do anything for the sound. It doesn't seem to alter the pitch or tone or anything. Not that if it did alter it, it would only be in a positive sense, but I didn't see anything there. If you actually look, you can, it'd be hard to see in the light, but basically these little channels that are under here, you can see straight down them. So there actually is some air movement that you're going to get through there if you stand it up and let the air come off. So it will actually mitigate some heat out that way. But again, not from a Mirage aspect, which is pretty cool. I'm out here today with something else I'll show you in just a minute, but I wanted to take a minute to talk a little bit more about the VERS Adapt. I talked about it earlier. There's over 24 of these different VERS Adapt mounts that'll work with a number of different Bowers silencers. This is the VERS 30 here that we're still talking about in the video that we're gonna roll this one into. But this is it right here. It just simply screws into, you unscrew your other one out of the back, which before we had 5/8 24 on there for 308. 6.5 Creedmoor, and this is 1/2 by 28 we're putting in here right now. You simply screw and unscrew right out of the back, screw it on there, and then Bowers supplies one of these little wrenches here. Screw it down. Supplies these one of these little wrenches here. I've actually got a couple now, so I got a couple different cans from them, and use a larger end on the back here to cinch this down. Just give it a little tightening in there, and then you're good to go. What we're gonna, that's enough talking about that. What we're gonna put it on here is one of our 5.56 ARs, which is threaded 1/2 by 28. I'm just gonna thread this guy right onto the end here. It is a direct thread. Cinch it down. You don't have to manhandle this or over tighten it. Just give it just snug. You don't want to overdo it. And there you go. You're ready to roll. What we are mainly focusing on in the video we're working on today, a separate video, is on this in from our friends at Optics Planet, the Vortex Spark AR, and then their Micro 3X magnifier, which is a pretty neat little setup. And we'll have a video out on this, I don't know, sometime in the next probably 4 to 6 weeks. We're just kind of getting more involved with this thing now, so we'll see how it goes moving forward. Anyway, I wanted to let you guys hear this on the 5.56. I don't know how much footage I have of that, so at least we'll do it at the same time we're doing the VERS Adapt here. We'll put some into the berm, and then 1 or 2 into the steel for a little bit of variation there. Where's my steel? There it is. Now take just a second to glance at the gases coming back out of this, or somewhat the lack thereof. 30 caliber can, a lot of volume in there. And the baffles are also designed very well, so you're not getting a ton of blowback, which is nice. Depending on the can that you're looking at, what you're rolling with, you can wind up getting blowback. I think I mentioned it in the when I was doing the standalone video on the one you're watching right now. Don't remember if I did, but if I didn't, I wanted to drop that in there now. We'll fire off a few more rounds so you can get a feel for it somewhat rapidly. And there you go. Thanks everybody joining us out here today. We just broke 10,000 subs on YouTube, so our 10K giveaway is going to be happening very soon. Sign up now through our newsletter. Amazing companies are teaming up with us for this giveaway. $100 gift cards, DLC bulk carriers, various swag packs from different manufacturers, knives, targets, magazines, dump trays, all kinds of very cool stuff from a number of different companies joining in, teaming up with us for our 10K and holiday giveaway. Sign up for the newsletter, and that's how you can get signed up for that. Maximum 1 email a week. Normally we only wind up sending out about 2 emails a month, so we'll never spam you out. Again, maximum 1 a week. You can find that information down below in the links for that. And special thank you real quick to silencershop.com and their SID kiosk for making the paperwork and transfer process on this VERS 30 so brain dead simple. We did this a long time ago. This thing spent a lot of months in jail. But anyway, their process over there at silencershop.com makes it really simple and really easy, and basically brain dead simple to go through the NFA process, especially if it's your first time doing it and you're not familiar with it. Makes it really simple, really easy, and there's not a whole lot of hassle that goes involved with it. Check out our Big Cartel shop. We've got various swag that's unique to the channel, patches, stuff like that. You won't find anywhere else. And if you're interested in some of the apparel that we wear here on the channel, 1776 United is where they also make our channel shirts as well. If you want to pick some of those up, code 7613C will save you 15% off on pretty much anything on the site, not just our shirts, but hoodies, whatever else it is. And Patreon as well if you want to support us over there. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, and definitely sign up for that newsletter so you can get into that giveaway. If we're going to be doing that giveaway sometime, we're finalizing the details on our date for that giveaway, but it's going to be sometime later in January, probably coming up toward the end of January, where we actually do the drawing for that via random.org. So based on our subscriber newsletter sign up. So thanks again, everybody. Take care, stay safe, have a very Merry Christmas, and safe and Happy New Year. Talk soon.